Laser sights can deter threats and aid in quick target identification, enhancing your ability to protect your family, home, and country. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, welcome back. By the way, don't forget to go to shopguntalk.com. That's our website. We have shirts, DVDs, hats, Gun Talk hats. We have our little stealthy trigger logo baseball cap that you can wear. You'll know what it is. Everybody else would just think it's some kind of an interesting swoosh. But you go, no, I'm actually wearing a trigger on my hat. Shopguntalk.com. Had a caller just a little while ago saying, hey, are you going to talk about this 3D printing thing? Yes, we are. I was firing out tweets like every 10 minutes on Twitter earlier in the week because things were breaking. Seriously, things were happening so fast. Every half hour, there's something else going on. We had, of course, we beat back a temporary restraining order in Texas, and then all of a sudden on Sunday, a week ago today, we have the attorneys general of several states all file not against Cody Wilson in Defense Distributed, the outfit that's publishing, and that's the important part, publishing information on the internet. They want to stop that. Fascinating that normally that would be called prior restraint. But in this case, they're perfectly willing to shut down free speech. Well, one of the folks that can explain a lot of this to us, because some of it ends up being beyond what I can explain, is Gene Hoffman from, CalGuns Foundation and now CodeIsFreeSpeech.com and a lot of other things. Hey, Gene.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
Well, I am well. It is, I don't remember ever seeing that much activity happening so fast with our lawyers popping into various courts, either in person or on the phone. I mean, it was like they were in court every 2 or 3 hours last Monday and Tuesday.
It got to the point there are now like 5 different lawsuits, counting the original lawsuit that was settled and closed. So Pennsylvania sued in Pennsylvania. Cody sued a couple of the attorneys generals, again in Austin, and then a bunch sued in Washington State.
Yeah, and then they sued in their individual states, kind of working with Washington State. Some of those got beat back. And I just want to say right here, the team of attorneys working for the Second Amendment, working for gun rights here, for Alan Gura, Josh Blackman, on and on and on, they were like rock stars. They were superstars doing this work and getting along and not killing each other in the middle of all this thing. It was amazing to watch.
Well, and also, a lot has to be said of each of the local councils who stepped up in, their Saturday or Sunday afternoons to be the person in New Jersey or the person in Washington State, because Josh can only be so many places, as can only Alan, right? So, certainly Josh and Alan doing a great job. But, I mean, folks like Dan Schmutter and others who, we all owe a debt of gratitude to.
Okay, so the idea is these states, these attorneys general, they want to stop the publication of information on the internet. At its core, that's what's going on, right?
That's what they're trying to do. It's probably worth backing up and saying that the U.S. State Department, which is who Cody sued, was advised by the United States Department of Justice that they should settle with Cody because what they were doing was violating the First Amendment.
Right.
And so they went ahead and did that settlement. And a bunch of anti-gun groups like the Brady Campaign tried to intervene right before that settlement was finalized about a week more ago, and then failed at that. The judge entered a ruling dismissing the case with prejudice. So this gets really strange. So the actual underlying case is done. There's no appeal. All the interveners were said no to. Washington State and a bunch of attorney generals with them went and sued the federal government, saying the federal government didn't have the right to set foreign commerce policy.
So they did not sue Cody Wilson and Defense Distributed because that case has been settled, so they turned around and sued the Trump administration.
Yeah, they're trying to say that the settlement isn't illegal. It's ex viris is the language. And that would then mean that Cody react to the state of, well, I can't publish them because the State Department said. But the problem with all of this is twofold. It's clearly a violation of speech. We'll start right there. Second, it is over. It was a case between the federal government and Cody, and Cody settled, right? And so they're reopening a different case in a different jurisdiction, both federal courts. What's going to be weirdest about this, Tom, is I predict that they're just going to get thrown out of court, and there's no real thing that ever happens other than Cody posts the files.
Well, the other thing that happened, and we have to explain this, is, if you will, to mix a whole bunch of metaphors, they're trying to keep the horses in the barn when the horses have not only left the barn, but they have galloped across the county and they have left the state. The horses are gone at this point.
The horses have been gone for 7 years. I mean, you could go to internet.org and archive.org, and get all these files for the entire period. They're now available on Code Speaks as well. Any sort of sense that there was a reason to stop publication just for Cody has absolutely no even rational basis.
So these files, these are 3D printer files and files for CNC machines. The files are out there. They're on the internet. They're available. If you want to go get them right now, codeisfree.com. Code is free speech, rather. Codeisfreespeech.com. It's out there. It's on different places. I went and downloaded it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I did it just because it's a free speech deal. It's a First Amendment exercise, and I wanted to go get them.
Yeah, and the funny thing is this happened before, almost exactly the same way. In the late 90s, the State Department said that cryptography, source code, and object code was a munition and couldn't be exported and therefore couldn't be put on the web. In that case, I was one of the part of the team that actually printed a book, and we shipped that book to Switzerland. And then the Department of Commerce decided that, well, probably keeping people from publishing books was a bad idea, and did exactly what the State Department tried to do here, which is to switch files into the Commerce Department, and it makes it very, you automatically have a license unless they come to you and say something about it. It's not a speech problem. And now you got the state's attorneys general trying to change both the First Amendment and, the federal total control over interstate and foreign commerce.
There's something else that was weird about this. I mean, there was a lot that was weird, Gene, but the media coverage on this was somewhere in the totally bizarre range, in that they did a buy-in to all collectively lose their minds at the same time and just say a whole string of objectively stupid things.
Well, look, I think there's two things going on. I mean, on your point about objectively stupid, all of these, undetectable firearms will be snuck into airports, and it's kind of like, with no ammunition. You kind of need ammunition to make the gun work, and trust me that the TSA can find ammunition.
Right.
But the second part is I think that they understand this puts the lie to will gun control really ever work. I mean, guns aren't that sophisticated a technology, and everybody who's got access to modern tools is going to slowly but surely have the capability to make whatever armaments they want.
Something we forgot to mention here, because we assume that people know it, but we shouldn't assume that. It is perfectly legal to make your own gun, period. I mean, obviously you got some state laws and local laws, but in the United States of America, it's legal for you to make your own gun. And, yes, it does not have to have a serial number on it when you make it for your own use. Am I correct?
That's right. You can't sell it initially. You can sell it down the road, but you need to put a serial number on it then. Right. And, obviously it can't be a machine gun. If you want to make a short-barreled rifle, you got to get your tax stamp first. Mm-hmm. Those things still have to be done. And one critical thing to this debate, it has to have a certain amount of metal in it so that it will be detectable. And, in fact, Cody's Liberator pistol has exactly the amount of metal needed and metal for the firing pin.
Okay, for those who didn't follow that last point, for 30 years now, exactly 30 years right now, it has been illegal in the United States to make an undetectable firearm. And this came about because of the silliness about the Glock pistol when 30 years ago they said, well, this Glock pistol, it'll go through metal detectors undetected, and X-ray machines won't even be able to see it. And, of course, it's got a pound of steel in it, which is just idiotic. And so... And I've heard people say, well, the NRA bought in on this gun control move. So, well, no, stop. Back up. The original proposal was for like 8 ounces. A gun had to have 8 ounces. And then they said, well, that's going to ban a lot of the guns in existence right now. So the NRA said, hey, how about 3.5 ounces? It's got to have 3.5 ounces of metal. And they went, okay, we'll do that. Of course, the NRA knew there are no guns. That's not going to ban any guns. So it was a law that got passed that didn't ban any guns at the time. So just for those that want to go bash the NRA over this deal, it was a smooth, sophisticated move at the time.
That's right. And, look, right now it puts the lie to that this is some sort of really annoying public nuisance. I mean, it's federally illegal for you to make a gun that is undetectable. And if you do that, you're a criminal. And, well, we know what criminals are. And but this all is pretty funny because a good 3D printer will set you back more than the cost of a pistol, certainly more than the cost of a pistol bought illegally. And, the CNC machines are $1,500, $1,700, and the Ghost Gunner is a great one. But, I mean, you're not doing this to be able to get a firearm inexpensively or otherwise.
No. It's actually, I love the description I saw this morning. I think it was Chris Knox, son of Neil Knox, saying that Cody is actually a performance artist. And Cody liked that one. He said, yeah, that's a lot of what's going on. He's pushing the boundaries, and that's what people do on free speech. Historically, we have protected speech that we may not necessarily have agreed with because we knew if we didn't protect that, they would come after us on speech that we did agree with. That's right. And, the thing is there's this concept called the Overton window. It's what people think is possible in politics or something else. Mm-hmm. And, Cody's moved the Overton window. He has basically made it clear, and I think he's right to do this, that gun control really can't work as the future of technology moves forward. And, crypto aren't that different. They can both be used offensively. They can both be used defensively. Mm-hmm. They both can be used to save a life, or they can be used to traffic in child porn. It's always a double-edged sword with the best technologies that we have. Yep, exactly right, and certainly that way here. Guns are used to save lives, they're used to take lives, but they're used to save lives a whole lot more, but there you are. Well, Gene, thank you. I mean, and I appreciate you explaining it. I appreciate your role in all of this. I do want to point out to people, go take a look. Codeisfreespeech.com. What do we expect as we look forward on this? Well, Tom, I do want to say, please, please, please donate to Cody. He's the man who's been doing the work here. He's got the bills. People should definitely hit that top link on Code is Free Speech for his donation link. Excellent point, because I've had a lot of people say, how can we help? How can we help? Well, there it is, codeisfreespeech.com, and then go to the links you can donate to help Cody with his. He's got massive, massive legal bills. That's right. And, look, the Ghost Gunner is a great product. I can't say enough about it. That's the other way you can help them is just by being a customer. Okay. Very good. Gene Hoffman, always great at explaining things. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Tom. All right, take care. All right, what do you think of this? What have you heard? What have your friends said about this? Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, I just want to know what people are saying. 866-TALK-GUN or just call Tom Talk Gun.
Crimson Trace announces LaserGuard Pro, designed for today's most popular concealed carry firearms, combining a red or green laser sight with 150 lumen light and featuring instinctive activation. LaserGuard Pro takes personal defense to the next level. Available now for the Smith & Wesson Shield. Visit crimsontrace.com to find a dealer near you and to learn more about why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
Used guns can be a great value, but you have to know who you're buying from. What if you could buy quality used guns with a lifetime warranty from the Internet's largest online reseller? That's what you get at DuriesGuns.com. They stand behind every firearm purchase for life. If you have a problem, they'll either fix or replace your gun. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, and more. Check out their inventory today at DuriesGuns.com.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
Well, as long as we're on the subject, and we'll talk about 3D guns as much as you want. You just call me if you want to talk about them, the whole deal, what's going on. But out in California, the Ninth Circuit has rejected a challenge for the California handgun roster. Now, let me explain. In California, and those of you out there, bear with me, other people may not know this. In order for a pistol to be handgun, let's put it that way, to be sold, it has to be on the official roster. And semi-automatic handgun has to be submitted to the state, and they test it to make sure it's drop safe and some other things. It's just a bureaucratic hassle. And for gun manufacturers, they have to submit three samples of each model. If they have it in different barrel length, then they have to submit 3 samples in each barrel length. It gets to be fairly expensive. And here's the thing. If it's not on the list, a dealer cannot sell it. All right? And if you are a manufacturer and you make a change in a pistol, you improve it, you use a different metallurgy in a part, it has to be resubmitted. Cost you money, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that's a hassle. But now it's become a lot more than that. Because now, in California, a pistol being a semi-automatic handgun, a pistol has to incorporate a magazine disconnect, it has to have some other things, but it also has to incorporate micro-stamping by law. So no guns can be added to the roster unless they have micro-stamping. There is one teeny, tiny problem. Micro-stamping does not exist. There is, according to the people who make guns, absolutely no way to incorporate this technology into the manufacture of handguns. So it is a myth, it's a hoax, it's bogus, it's a chimera. It's not there. You cannot put it on a gun. What's that mean? Well, you've already figured it out. No new handguns can be added to the California roster. Oh, but wait, it gets worse. Because you can't add any on, because nothing, you can't put microstamping on a gun now. As a gun gets modified and the manufacturer would have to resubmit it, it can't be resubmitted because now it would be required to have microstamping. Mike Pfeiffer, when he was CEO of Ruger some 4 or 5 years ago, predicted, he said, this will eventually mean that there will be no semi-automatic handguns for sale in California. And the Ninth Circuit looked at this and said, it's clear that you can't get a lot of models of semi-automatic pistols in the state. But because you can get some, then it's not unconstitutional. Now imagine, if you will, them applying the exact same logic to books. We are okay banning most books because you can get some books. They may not be the books that you want, and you may not be able to get the books that you want, but you can get some books, so it's not a violation of the First Amendment to ban books. It's ludicrous. But this is what the Ninth Circuit has said. Next stop, I guess they could go en banc, try to get a hearing en banc, but also now maybe we can get the Supreme Court to accept a case, because the Supreme Court has ducked all of the gun cases, all the Second Amendment cases coming its way. The logic, at least the thinking has been, the guessing, if you will, is that they didn't have their 5 votes that it would take to win. It takes 4 votes on the Supreme Court to accept a case. But generally speaking, they look around, and if they can't find a way, they say, okay, we're probably going to win on this one, then they're not going to accept it in the first place. Now that Justice Kennedy, is leaving, and we're looking at, I hope, knock on wood, hope Judge Kavanaugh gets on as Justice Kavanaugh. That could change the makeup. That could change the whole thing. And this may be a case that can get there, because the very idea that you can ban some guns on the basis of, yes, but you have other guns, makes no sense. And, of course, they've ignored completely the clear evidence that the end game of this is to ban the sale of all semi-automatic handguns in California. So we'll see what happens on this one. It's a mess. This is from the same Ninth Circuit that gave us 2 pretty good rulings a couple of weeks ago. But there you are. It's where we are. By the way, that website is codeisfreespeech.com. And Gene made a good point. If you want to help with this whole 3D gun fight, these free speech, it is a First Amendment / Second Amendment case. You can go there and you make a donation to Cody Wilson and his group, or you can join his group, or you can even buy his Ghost Gunner CNC machine. I think it's $1,600, and you can make an AR-15 receiver out of it. Take that, banners.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, a quick update for you. Don't forget to download our smartphone app, Gun Dealio. It'll save you tons of money. We have a lot more alerts coming out now. We've found a whole bunch more deals, ways to save money. Special things are available, sometimes only for 24 hours. And you get these alerts on your phone. It goes, boom, here's a cool deal on an optic or something. So Gun Dealio, it's free, available on Android and iPhone. Also, don't forget, First Person Defender is available on all of our platforms, YouTube, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Guns and Gear Television is now running on Sportsman Channel. Check that out. I've got a lot of new things going on there. We're talking about the 3D printer debacle, sideshow, circus, whatever you want to call it. Just had Gene Hoffman explain what happened here. Well, one of the fellows who's been writing about this continuously and doing a great job with it is Stephen Gutowski, who joins us right now. Stephen, one of the things I like about what you've been doing is trying to herd the media in and all of the insanity and I would just say it, just stupid stuff they've been saying. But I'm not sure that one man can keep up with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that either.
It's, you obviously you write for the Washington Free Beacon. You've covered this a lot, but you covered a lot of things. But in my experience, I don't know that I've ever seen a flurry of misinformation like I have seen over the last week on this 3D printer story.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right there. Just everything down to the very basics of what's going on in this case have been completely misconstrued time and time again throughout the media. And it's just been something that's been very difficult to fact check and set straight just because of the sheer volume involved.
What's going on? Why do you? I mean, the facts are actually fairly clear. You got this case that Cody Wilson sued the government. They agreed to settle it because they were told you're going to lose it. It's a First Amendment case. You're going to lose it. Then the gun ban industry came in and sued in Texas. They got their hats handed to them and told, no, you lose. And so it's over. And then you got these attorney generals that run in there, and they're suing all over in these different states. And the media is trying to cover this. And are they just getting all of their talking points from the gun ban side of things?
I mean, I'm sure that some of them are mostly hearing about this from the gun control side of things, and that's probably contributes to why we're seeing a lot of the same falsehoods spread on this. But I mean, I'll admit that it certainly can be a complicated issue. It deals with new technology. It deals with some fairly novel arguments from the State Department about the legality of publishing gun designs and blueprints on the internet. And you've got a figure like Cody Wilson, who's a very brash guy involved at the center of it, who's trying to make a point in doing all this stuff. And so, he's definitely factors that go into it. But
yeah, he's poking the bear. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that's what he's doing there. You have. It's like I'm seeing things like Mark Kelly from the Giffords Group is saying, well, we should make it illegal for anybody to even have a set of these plans. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I've had 3D plans, if you will, exploded drawings and blueprints of guns for 40 years. I got dozens of books with them here. Are we going to have to start burning the books? When you have tried to point all of this information out to the media, what kind of reaction do you get?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know that people really understand the core issues at play here because, mostly media coverage wants to focus on the concept of being able to 3D print gun parts, right? Just that it's something you could do or something, that scares a lot of people who don't really understand it. But really the core issue at play is whether or not you can have and share gun blueprints, right? Which, as you alluded to, is something that people in the gun community have done for decades. I mean, one of the designs that Cody Wilson had wanted to share on his website was for the 1911, which is a 100-year-old gun design.
Which was introduced in the year 1911.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't think people really understand that. There's a lot that people don't understand, right? I mean, only one of those files that Wilson had wanted to share on DeathCAD, his website, was actually 3D printable. The rest of them are just designs, like you alluded to earlier.
Yeah,
designs
just
that
blueprints.
have been published in books. Yeah,
right.
I have them on my gun mats.
Exactly. The cleaning mat that you have for your guns on your counter, it's got exploded drawings and blueprints and things. It's been a bizarre week and a half. I know they've been working on it a lot longer, but to watch this flurry of activity and the media losing its mind as though, and I actually saw some reports, Stephen, where they were saying you'll be able to download 3D guns. I'm going, what?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a total lack of understanding involved here on several levels. I mean, the media, generally speaking, is bad at reporting on guns, right? We all know that. And then they're also, generally speaking, pretty bad at reporting on new technology. And so here we see something that is the intersection of those two things. And boy, we've really lived up to that bad reputation so far. And so, Obviously, even if you took the gun that Cody Wilson has designed, the Liberator, the single-shot 380 pistol, made mostly of 3D printed gun parts, not completely. There's metal in it. Right. It's not an undetectable firearm, as far as we can tell. Right. Even if you did download those files and print out that gun, which, by the way, those files have been readily available all over the internet for years. Right. The idea that Cody Wilson posting them again was going to make them more easily accessible is very questionable, I would say, because you do a simple Google search to find these things. Sure. They're out there. But even if you were to download and print the 16 parts that you would need to assemble that firearm, you'd need a significant amount of understanding on how to work a 3D printer. They're not as simple as it might seem, right? There's certainly an enthusiast level skills involved with that, and then you need to assemble it. And then, the gun itself is a proof of concept type of firearm. It's not necessarily very safe or reliable. It's not like pushing the print button on your Epson printer. No, exactly. Well, Stephen, I appreciate what you've been doing. You've been really helping to fight back the ignorance and the misinformation on this. The best place for people to find your writing, is that at the Washington Free Beacon? Yes, absolutely. freebeacon.com. freebeacon.com. All right. Stephen Gutowski, I appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir. All right. Your take on this now. It's your time. We're open lines. Take your calls, 866-TALK-GUN. Also, we're looking for your thoughts on, this is National Shooting Sports Month. Have you taken somebody out to the range? What have you gone out to the range to do? I was going to go shoot yesterday. I was all lined up. We were good to go. Woke up in the morning. It's raining. It's not only raining, it's thunder, and it's lightning. And I will do a little bit of rain, but I am not going out and playing with lightning. I am absolutely a chicken at that stuff. So that's for this coming week. We got to get this gun sighted in, this 1022 with this pressure on it. 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Face it, sometimes more is better. That's the idea behind the double-stack, full-capacity pistols from Springfield Armory. From the groundbreaking XD to the ergonomic XDM to the latest refinements in the XD Mod 2 series, you can get subcompact, midsize, and full-size pistols in 9, 40, and 45. Carry, target, or tactical models. Fast, accurate, dependable. Don't come up short when it matters. Go full cap. Go Springfield Armory. Springfield-Armory.com.
What's the oldest cartridge you've ever shot or hunted with? Interesting thought. When you think about it, a lot of the cartridges, not the ammo itself, okay, but the cartridges themselves are pretty old. We look at all the new cool kids on the block, the 6.5 Creedmoors, the 6 Creedmoors, all that, the Ruger cartridges, and they're all cool, and they're all very good, and they do work just fine. But if you think about it, like the 30-06, adopted by the United States government, the military, in 1906. The 45 ACP. For that matter, the 4570, which goes back to the 1800s as a black powder cartridge. General Custer's men were equipped with trapdoor Springfields 4570s. Isn't it interesting that these old cartridges are, well, they're interesting, but they're also certainly adequate. I want to say adequate, but that's cheating them. They are up to the task in many cases. I mean, the 270 came out I don't remember the exact date, but it was in the 1930s, I believe. Yeah, the 270 it'll go up against anything for a hunting cartridge in North America. I would hunt. Maybe not grizzly. I mean, if I was forced to, I would with good bullets. But anything other than grizzly, people say, really? You hunt elk? Yeah. Moose? Certainly. Give me a good bullet with good penetration. Not a problem at all. Easy. I mean, but it's kind of cool that we get to hunt with these cartridges that are just old. What is do you have a favorite in terms of old cartridges or even old rifles or designs or old guns? Or do you have like an older gun that you particularly like? Give me a holler, 866-TALK-GUN. Line 3, Fred's with us out of North Carolina. Hey, Fred, you've made it on. Got a range report?
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you, Tom. Speaking of old rifles, I wanted to talk about the Marlin Model 39A with you guys today.
Nice.
It is a rifle with so many advancements that we've had recently, Tom. What still really tickles me and gets me the most excited is just some old worn blued steel and nice dense American walnut. And I started collecting these rifles about 10 years ago. And I've got a few from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And I just went.
I think we lost the cell phone. All right, go ahead. Yeah, we lost your cell phone, but you're back now. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, just I love the old American walnut and blued steel on these rifles. And they're loads of fun with the CCI CB short rounds. Just popping tin cans with those things. It's a great way to get new shooters into the sport. And just really love those rifles, and I haven't heard them discussed much on your show.
Well, absolutely. And it's interesting that you mentioned the CB shorts. That's kind of the old gallery load they used to use in the galleries. It's subsonic, of course, very quiet. There's kind of a new kid on the block when it comes to that kind of ammo, and I was out shooting some of it the other day. It's the 22 rimfire stuff from Aguila. It's made in Mexico. It's good ammo. They have three that really come to mind. One's called the Calibri, and it is, what's the velocity on this? 420 feet per second. Unbelievable. Really, really slow. And then they've got the Super Calibri, which is 590 feet per second. And then if you want an interesting one, they've got one they call the 22 Sniper Subsonic. And it has a 60-grain bullet going 950 feet per second. Again, it is subsonic. But just in terms of, for you, if you want to try some different things in those Marlin rifles, you might look at that lineup from Aguila. They're doing some really interesting things right now.
Absolutely. I've actually put quite a few of the Super Calibri through many of those Marlin rifles, and I'll credit your show for me pronouncing that company properly. I was butchering it for a while, but the Aguila rounds are really cool. That Super Calibri, the hammer actually hitting the back of the rifle is louder than the report of the muzzle when you shoot. It
truly is. It actually is. Yeah, it's crazy. And you can hear the bullet hit down range, and that's all you got.
That's right, and there's a nice long pause between the two of those.
Yes, there is.
You just can't beat it. It's super fun, Tom.
Well, I appreciate you calling in because I do love the Marlins, and the 39A is a great rimfire rifle. I just love them, and there are a lot of different variations, and I love the idea of starting to collect some of the older ones. Dadgummit, now you got something in my head. I need a new hobby, right? I'll collect Marlin rimfire lever actions. Sure I will. Well, I might. When I collect, it's usually one at a time. I'll collect one or two. Maybe I'll do that. 866-TALK-GUN. What are you taking out shooting? What's interesting? And are there any particularly old guns that you really like to shoot? Let's go. I have several stories I need to get to you, but we're going to go to Ron first in Arkansas. He's on line 2. Hey, Ron, you're up. Hey, Ron, you there? Okay, I guess he's not there. Let me tell you about a story here. This is not a good story. In Aurora, Colorado, a decorated Vietnam veteran woke up to the sound of his front door crashing in, saw a naked intruder attack his grandson, so he acted to protect his loved one. As the man was trying to choke and drown the boy in the bathroom, Richard Black and his son desperately tried to pull the man off early Monday, even poking him in the eyes before the 73-year-old Black grabbed his 9mm handgun and shot the intruder twice in the chest. Here's where it gets ugly. The police show up. They see the homeowner standing there with a gun, and they kill him. Short story. Shoot him and kill him. Why? Because he had a gun. We have to stop training police officers to say gun and to use that as the command to fire on the firing ranges, and anybody they see with a gun, they intend to shoot. This was a good guy. He had just saved his grandson. He did everything right. He was in his home. And the police show up and kill him. We got a problem. It needs to be addressed. It's a training problem. And we need to be holding people responsible for this, because that's not an accident. And I would offer that it's not within the protocol or the policy, or it shouldn't be. It's a real issue. It's a real problem. Now, we do have a good guy with a gun story out of Titusville, Florida. An armed bystander shot a man who opened fire on a back-to-school event at a Titusville park following a fist fight. So the shooting happened at the Isaac Campbell Park on South Street. A bystander licensed to carry a firearm shot the shooter, who was flown to a nearby hospital. They said the bystander, who they have not identified, in other words, the guy with the concealed carry permit, who shot the suspect, waited for officers and has been fully cooperative with the investigation. The deputy police chief said, "We are extremely grateful that no one else was injured in this incident. This suspect opened fire at a crowded public park. This could have been so much worse." Yes, that was the whole thing. That's the point, is it can be so much worse if you don't stop it immediately. And when you have somebody there who knew what he was doing, had his firearm, whether licensed or not, some states it's not required that you have a carry permit, but mainly he was competent and capable and willing to put himself into the mix. So you have these two stories. The guy in Colorado who uses a gun to defend a life and gets killed by the police. And then this fella in Titusville, a good guy with a gun, who the police are congratulating. And I've told you before, look, when you decide to get involved, anytime you get involved in this stuff, it's dangerous. And you should just have it in your head that if you get into any situation where you have to pull your gun out, whether or not you pull the trigger, assume that somebody else is there with a gun. Could be an off-duty police officer, could be a concealed carry person, or could be the cops who are just rolling up. Keep your head on a swivel if you have to shoot, and that's where good training, a good self-defense shooting school will teach you a lot of this stuff about moving and shooting and looking around behind you and seeing what's going on and basically checking your surroundings, being aware. It's hard to do, but with training you can get there, because this stuff is dangerous. Make no mistake, you can do it all right and still end up dead. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. When we come back, let's talk about the guns that you're taking out to the range. What are you shooting? Also, let's see, Dianne Feinstein has a Chinese spy working for her for 20 years. I'm not making it up. That's part of the big news. Be right back with more Gun Talk.